What's going on, everybody? Chase with IDEP Hockey, joined today with Gabriel from CCM Hockey. We're hanging out here in Montreal with the exciting new Tacks AS6 Pro line in front of us. Before we start talking about the technology throughout the entire line, how would you describe the flex profile, maybe the style of player that Tacks is built for?
Yeah, so when we think about Tacks, we think about the mid-kick stick. So mid-kick point stick, really what it focuses in is the heavier shots, so those heavy wrist shots that you're gonna take the time to load to really deliver more power and really rip those big heavy shots.
So great for those players that typically are maybe hanging out the top of the circles, just looking to force the puck past the goalie with pure speed, right?
Indeed. So when we think about our ripcord line, is more about those quick snapshots, so shots from closer to the net. But when we think about Tacks, we really think about power. So like you said, shots closer to the blue line or on top of the circle.
Well, let's talk about the new AS6 Pro. Last year we saw a huge change with the taper. This year we're seeing an even bigger change in the blade technologies here. So totally different from anything we've seen in hockey before. Walk me through why this blade is so special this year.
So what we brought to the blade this year is the new helicoid blade. So mainly what it is a new way of stacking our carbon fiber layers. So what we used to do before is stacking them with big angle increments. So this year we really stack them with those smaller increments. And what it does, it provides the blade to keep its integrity for a longer period of time while allowing to keep the same shooting performance over time.
So that's the saddest part about getting a brand new hockey stick, is having those first couple shots, knowing how great that blade feels. And then over time it starts to wear out, and it sounds like this is something that directly addresses that, right?
Exactly.
And now we see also that V-shaped taper, which was a big change for Tacks last year. Obviously really cool that you're bringing it in this year. What kind of benefits does that provide the power shooter?
Yeah, so like you said, we kept the same variable V geometry to the AS6 Pro. So what it is mainly is we have our square geometry at the top of the shaft and it tapers down to a V geometry on the bottom. What it does is really to improve the feel of the bottom hand on the stick while also improving the energy transfer while loading and releasing the stick.
So it's keeping it secure in the hands when you're really dropping the hammer, but also allowing for as much energy to flow from the shaft into the puck as possible, right?
Exactly.
Now let's also talk about the construction. So obviously it has to do a little bit with the shaft shape there, but in terms of the overall material design this year, I think there's a little bit different recipe than what we've seen in the past. Walk me through what you guys used to build the AS6 Pro.
You're right, so we didn't only bet on a new blade, we did also bring a new technology, which is our nanolite shield technology into the shaft. So what it is a new way of building the shaft by stacking different thicknesses of carbon fiber layers. So what we have in the core shaft of the stick is really thin carbon fiber layers that are pressed and held by two thicker layers of carbon fibers. And on top of that, we're gonna have our Sigma STP carbon weave, which is our top end carbon weave, the lightest that we have, that will block the shaft and the blade from puck impacts and slashing.
So just a massive upgrade from the blade, even in the shaft with the materials and the construction. Now, another thing that we're seeing brought into this Tacks line is the ability to make it your own with the name bar. What price points do we find that on here?
Yeah, so we have the custom name bar on our top 3 price points. So we have it on the AS6 Pro, AS6, and AS Team. So you'll be able to customize it with your name and jersey numbers at checkout.
Last but not least, they look great, big internal upgrades, but they feel, this AS6 Pro really feels great this year too. I feel like I get a little more feedback, and I have to imagine it has to do with this raised texture, right?
Yeah, so what we have on our AS6 Pro is the microfeel grip that really blends well with our variable V geometry. So it really allows players to have a good grip, a good feel on the stick, while also allowing their hand to move freely if they want to stick handle or pass the puck.
That's what I liked about it, just the amount of feedback, you know exactly where that hand is sitting at all times, and also very exciting to see it also transfer down into the AS6 as well. So we covered the AS6 Pro, elite performance, all the bells and whistles, exciting new technology, but the AS6 is really built for that high-end player, still looking for elite level performance, but maybe at a little bit more of an approachable price point for elite performance. So exciting features and materials here too. Why should that player be excited and to check out this AS6 this year?
So for our second price point, we still have a great stick with great technology. So we have our advanced carbon matrix, which is our one of the top end construction to really have a stick that is light, that feels good, while not having to pay for a top price point stick.
And now in terms of materials, this has some Tacks carbon fiber in it, and that's really exciting for those players that know what it is. If you don't know what Tacks is, what is it and why is that so cool to see at your second price point?
So we have our Tacks carbon weave on the shaft and blade. So what it is one of our top end carbon weave technology. So it really helps the stick to be really light while also protecting it from puck impacts and slashing during the gameplay.
And now Tacks has always been durable, high performing, but also very lightweight too. So before we move on, since the AS6 Pro had the Tacks STP, what's the weight of the 6 Pro? What's the weight of the 6 and how have those changed since the previous generations?
So for the AS6 Pro, we were able to remove 15 grams on the stick, so it sits now at 375 grams. And for the AS6 stick, we were able to remove 5 to 10 grams to make it sit at 410 grams.
Now, if you're more of that competitive or even recreational player, you're likely looking into the Tacks team and the AS570. So what are a couple features that we find throughout both of these that really make these great buys for that type of player?
So the first thing that we're still gonna see on our fourth and third price point is the mid-kick stick profile or kick profile. So what it allows the sticks is really to bend at a higher level and really allow to deliver those high velocity shots. So what we also have on the team stick is the UAF blade, which is a soft blade. And on top of that, we have our C6 carbon weave to protect it from puck impacts and slashes.
And then on the 570, this is a little bit more of a basic version of a mid-kick stick, but that's still important for those power shooters out there. Maybe walk me through just the overall construction and idea behind the 570.
So for the AS 570, we still have something that is really interesting for our players out there. So like you said, not necessarily the ones that are willing to pay the top price, but still a stick that will feel good. You have the square geometry, and you have the same blade as the Tacks team, which is a soft blade that will allow players to load it and still feel great on the ice.
Perfect, Gabriel. Well, one more time, I just want to say thank you so much for having us out here and running us through the Tacks line.
Thanks for being with us.
And for you at home that want to check out the entire line of Tacks sticks, make sure you head over to icewarehouse.com.